I'm here with James. Just witnessed Arsenal really struggle to victory today, James. Ipswich 0, Arsenal 4, and let's be honest, James, it could have been 6, 7, 8, couldn't it?
Yeah, I was surprised how dominant Arsenal were. I know the league table shows Ipswich as obviously, along with the other two, miles off it in terms of trying to stay in the league and all that. But when I've watched them, I've largely thought this is a team that can compete and make it difficult. But Arsenal were really on it. Arteta went stronger than I expected.
Why do you think that was?
Well, you know what, I sort of keep contradicting myself because in the last few days, we were talking forever Arsenal. I'd say I'd make these changes. I'd go for a rotate 11, and then honestly, about 15 minutes before starting 11 show, I just thought, and you might remember me saying it. I said, I wonder if Arteta might actually go strong because when you looked at the way the games were set up, it didn't really make sense to kind of keep resting players because what you end up is a situation which, every player's left it out there for Real Madrid, and then suddenly they're asked to kind of bring it back for PSG. So I'm not that surprised he actually kind of kept giving them minutes. Saka obviously got his first start in the Premier League since December. It's kind of easy to forget that because he's played quite a lot of football. Obviously, he scored against Fulham and started the Madrid game. So, I've just gone off on a tangent. I can't remember what you asked. But yeah, basically, he went stronger than I expected, and it meant Arsenal were super dominant, like really, really dominant. Good to see Marino in midfield. Good to see Trossard in the false nine. Sometimes we do this thing where, I'm guilty of it too, right? But there's this kind of thing in fandom when we're discussing, debating positions. Before a ball's kicked against Real Madrid, preferred the idea of Trossard in the false nine. And people really didn't get it, why he's not done it in this, blah, blah. And then because Marino did better against Madrid than we all thought, certainly brilliantly at the Bernabeu, it's kind of like swung to, well, the idea of Trossard being the false nine's a terrible idea. I think both have their strengths and weaknesses. I think that's Marino's shirt right now with a fully fit team. However, Trossard showed today what he can do in that position too. So for all the injuries we've got in the forward line, we've somehow ended up with options of what we can do there. And Trossard showed he was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's a bonus, right? I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, the changes that Mikel Arteta are making at the moment seem to be working. And you're right, Trossard looked good today, looked sharp, got a couple of goals, and yeah, he'll be very happy. Who else impressed you out there today?
Odegaard looked brighter, I will say. Not everything came off. But I think we also have to appreciate that if this is a player we're saying we want more in the final third, we want more productivity, we want more creativity, we want more shots, well, then expect him to get more wrong as well on that front. I mean, my frustration has been more in what he hasn't really done rather than, and sort of almost, sort of lack of trying. There's very few Arsenal players you can question how much they try, how much they're trying to make things happen in the game. Stuttering through my words, but there we go. But Odegaard, I felt today he actually did try to make more happen. He tried to look buzzy. He tried to, play some balls in behind and actually picked out some great ones, some lovely through balls and had a shot at the post. He was better, but still levels to go for him because we know what he's capable of. Who else impressed me? Marino, I thought, did really well in midfield. Really good to see. Marte got the goal. That was good to see. Like I've mentioned, Trossard already. When you win 4-0 away from home in a Premier League game, everyone's kind of done their bit. Yeah. When he scored that many goals, everyone's had their part to play. I think what I liked about Marino was the way he was ending up in the box a lot and on the end of things, despite playing the left eight, he could have made those movements from the striking position. It took me a minute on the watch long to remember he's not playing up front today. He's driving in from midfield, so that's good to see. Maybe he's sort of really getting to grips with that 8 position, which is good.
And a shout out to the defence. Clean sheet today, never really looked troubled. I mean, obviously Ipswich were missing Delap, which is a big miss for them. They're also missing Amari Hutchinson, who's a good forward play for them. But I thought Saliba and Kivior once again looked solid. Yeah. Weren't really troubled at the back. So shout out to them, yeah?
Yeah, their understanding is really good. I mean, those stats sort of emerge when Kivior hasn't lost in 18 games. I think he can stretch that to 20 games now, maybe 21. Saliba and him, I think, have now maybe gone 10 games or something unbeaten playing together. Something like that. So, well done to them. And, again, I know going into this, we're somewhat lackluster, apathetic, relaxed, whatever word you want to use. The point is, it doesn't have that energy and fire that you want Premier League games at this stage of the season to have. But I keep saying that I still think there's a contradiction here in there's a standard that we're saying Arsenal should hit, but we're so far off that, which is basically challenging Liverpool for the league or whatever. But then I still think there should always be a maintaining of as close to that as possible. And, if you've had a bad season because of some of it coaching, some of it player quality, some of it injuries, and all these reasons, and Liverpool blown you away, whatever it might be, maybe a bit of bad luck along the way. If you've had that bad season, still at least just finish second. And if it's going to be a bad season in which it didn't work for us and we didn't do anything like what we were hoping to do in the league, at least look at it and go, all right, but we did better than the other 18. What does it count for? Probably nothing. But still rather that. I still want to see my football team win matches. I still want to see, coming here, it was a pleasure, all of us on the watch along, seeing Arsenal score goals, seeing Waneri get another Premier League goal. I mean, his numbers are quietly very good this season. Yeah. Seeing Trossard get some goals, Saka looking electric. All of that was just part of supporting your football team too. I know we talk about the trophies and all that, but you'll see a football team win games. And so we've enjoyed that on this Sunday.
Definitely. And aside from the 4 goals and the ease of which we won, I guess one of the major talking points of this game will be the 32nd minute. Now, that tackle for me, that was one of the worst I've seen this season. Okay, I know there's going to be bias in there from my perspective, but that truly was an awful tackle. From behind, the ball was gone. You could see when you saw the replay, there was intent on the Ipswich defender's face when he made that challenge. Had to go, but that was a bad moment for all Arsenal fans, because when Saka went down, we were fearing the worst.
Well, he's got ice on his ankle now, hasn't he? We've seen the footage of him getting sort of strapped up. And I think Christian Ty said it, and this is a really good point. It's probably the only thing about Arteta all week that you could remotely, slightly criticise is, why did we leave him on? But you've got to remember there's medical staff, there's what Saka's saying too. But I do think you're right, and I think Kelechi said it, sometimes protect the player from himself. Just say, look, you've been a long time out. It was a bad tackle. At half-time, you'd have probably seen the footage, and he'll have 15 minutes to sort of rest on it. They should have just said, look, we'll take you off. It doesn't matter when Eric can get some key minutes. So they did get him off eventually, but maybe he played 12, 15 minutes more than he really needed to. In terms of the tackle itself, I really dislike in the game, and look, I need to remember that. What are we doing here? We're on YouTube, on a media platform, and we're all giving our opinions. And then you've got everyone on social media, and then you've got everyone in the stadium. All of this amounts to a lot of pressure on players in games, and sometimes maybe that could just get to you. So maybe for Leif Davis, by the way, a very good defender. That's who was sent off, right? It was Davis, right? Very good defender. He's having a tough time with Saka, and maybe it's just gotten to his head, and he's just made a stupid tackle. Now, I sort of respect that humans and things happen, but at the same time, I just really hate when there is no attempt. I don't want to say no attempt to win the ball, because as we discussed, that could be a cynical trip or whatever. I'm talking when there's almost an attempt to just leave a little bit on him. And I think we saw that in the Tarkowski one. You know when he won the ball against, was it McAllister? Yeah. But the aggression with which he went into winning that tackle, winning that ball, was a little bit of I'm going to win the ball cleanly here, but if I take you out, I've got no problem with it. Yeah. I don't really know how... I mean, red cards. I think Tarkowski should have been sent off, and I think that was rightly a red card there. It's a thing of mine. I've got a real issue when players just go, it's not really happening for me, and I'm going to... Or I'm going to make a sort of a statement here by sort of someone hurting the player. And it felt like Leif Davis was miles away from the ball. And he went really high into the Achilles of Bukayo Saka. And I think he thought... At worst, it'll be a bit of a yellow card, and I've left one on him, and he'll be all right. But play with fire, and it was worse than that, and he was punished accordingly for it.
Yeah, for me, it was a terrible challenge. As we said, the ball had clearly gone, and like I said, when you watch the replay, I invite you guys to watch the replay again. You can see the look of intent on his face when it happened. So that was a poor moment.
You can see from how late he's never getting there. He knows that, and he's just, fine. And also, it's from behind. I mean, because even if Saka hadn't released the ball that quickly, the ball could be exactly where Leif Davis wants it to. The point is, you've gone through the back of it. There's no logic to it. And all this stuff happens very quickly. In slow motion, you can break it down, whatever. But I just think it was a pretty irresponsible tackle, to be honest.
Agreed. One thing I would say, though, Saka did have ice on it initially, but towards the end I noticed that the ice had come off. So,
okay, good.
And he seemed to be smiling, so hopefully it's not too bad. Yeah. But looking forward, I thought it's a very good performance today, very professional. Guys played well. I think there is definitely a feel-good factor following on from the Madrid game. Going into the game against Palace, keep the same team, make changes again. What do you think the manager's take will be?
Yeah, I think you go strong because it's a week till PSG. I'd love to know what spreadsheets, data, whatever, the medical staff, the fitness team, the coaches are all working with to find that perfect balance between rest, manage minutes. We got a big one next week, and we're playing Palace. They need minutes in the legs and they need momentum. What's that balance? Declan Rice, he's going to have to be everywhere against PSG. So what's the best prep for him? By getting 90 more minutes against Palace and maintaining that rhythm and that momentum, or take a week off? I have no idea. Yeah. So we will see, and I won't be too mad either way, or too happy. I won't have any strong opinions on it. But I would like to see more squad players continue to get minutes because they did well today. They deserve it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Thanks, James.
Right, cheers.